everyone, Nicole, Russo, and Dan Illman coming to you with this week's Oaks Countdown. As we told you last week, it was going to be a busy weekend on the road to the Kentucky Oaks with 4 points races. And you'll see on the current points leaderboard that the weekend did have a big impact. Devona Dale winner Darth Vader, Busher winner Shittaputi, and Cincinnati Trophy winner Botanical, all new to the list. Santa Isabel winner Faiza not on the list, as she was not transferred out of Bob Baffert's barn by last week's February 28th deadline and is thus not Oaks eligible. But this is still a wide open class after the busy weekend, Dan.
It is absolutely wide open. Again, we're still searching for the filly on this list to run a fast race. We had some big upsets. Darth Vader basically was a huge upset, winner of the Devona Dale. But how much of an upset was she really? Because that race had a lot of question marks going in. We know that Darth Vader has quality and speed. Now it's all about whether she'll carry that speed a little more distance.
Yeah, and that was a very nice field of fillies in the Devona Dale, and some excuses for some of the beaten favorites, most notably Leave No Trace, who was eased, and we'll talk about some of those storylines in a moment. But let's focus in on that upset winner, Darth Vader. Here she is in the stretch. She stalked the pace and drew off in the lane, earned a buyer speed figure of 81. Her career high is an 85, and the immediate question when you have an upset winner like this in a big prep race is this horse for real?
I think in this race, she proved that she was for real, at least against this field at this distance. She had run an 85 buyer speed figure, as you mentioned, in the Sandpiper at Tampa Bay sprinting, a legitimately good effort. And then she had an excuse for her start prior to the Devona Dale, in which she got caught up in a very wicked speed duel and paid the price. Now, in this race, she stayed up close to a legitimate pace, and she ran right by the favorite, a horse that might be a bit distance challenged. You can't argue with this effort from Darth Vader. The force is strong in this one right now, but I am concerned about her going 1 1/8 down the road with this pedigree.
Yeah, the Devona Dale, her first win at a mile. She did finish third in a division of the Florida Sire Stakes last fall at 1 1/16 with a little bit of a troubled trip. A Florida bred filly from the first crop of Grade 1 winner Gervin, also the sire of Faiza. He had such success last year that he's moved from Florida to Kentucky for this 2023 season. Darth Vader, one of those 2-year-olds who helped power his early success, winning a pair of stakes last year, although they were sprint races, one against her fellow Florida breds and one against Open Company in the Sandpiper. I think if you're looking for reasons to continue to like her, hoping for a price in other races, including the Kentucky Oaks, she now has 4 wins from 7 starts lifetime. And, you know, she's had some experiences in those 7 starts. Might have an experience edge on some of the other fillies in this crop moving forward.
Well, she's battle tested. You're absolutely right about that. And she's going to be a price, I would assume, in any race she shows up. And now maybe she won't be 45 to 1, but simply because of these low profile quality connections, she's going to be a big price. She's going to show up in a prep race with the Todd Pletchers and the Chad Browns and the Brad Coxes of the world, and a race where she won't have a decided figure advantage. So she's certainly one to follow in that regard. Of course, 1 1/8 in the Kentucky Oaks around 2 turns at Churchill Downs is a lot different than a mile at Gulfstream Park, a 1-turn race that sometimes plays to horses that are close to the pace.
Now, one of the fillies that we were looking forward to seeing in a solid field for the Devona Dale was Leave No Trace, a Grade 1 winner last year, making her first start since finishing second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Now, she was pulled up at the top of the stretch by Tyler Gaffalione. Trainer Phil Serpy told our colleague Mike Walsh that the filly was jogging sound back at his barn, so it doesn't appear to be anything catastrophic. He is going to send her to Dr. Larry Bramlage for a complete workup to take place this week, looking to get to the bottom of anything that might be going on with her. So that's the latest on Leave No Trace. Meanwhile, forward gal winner Red Carpet Ready went off favored in the Devona Dale. She set a fast pace and tired to finish third. Her first career defeat. Dan, what you alluded to it before, what do you make of her performance, especially as we start moving on to some of these longer races?
She ran fine, but she didn't run in the manner of a Kentucky Oaks winner. She was favored in that race, as you mentioned, and she was a deserving favorite. She was up close to a fast pace, yes, but so was Darth Vader, and Darth Vader ran right by her like she was tied to the 3/16th pole. I think Red Carpet Ready has a lot of natural ability, but as the distances increase, I'm not sure she's going to show that she's head and shoulders above any of these other fillies. She obviously deserves another opportunity to go 2 turns because this crop is so wide open right now, but I think she'll eventually find her niche as a 7 furlong to a 1 turn mile horse, and maybe the Acorn is a race for her.
Yeah, certainly that's a great point. There are plenty of races in this division beyond the Kentucky Oaks. You know, there's the Acorn, there's the Test. We've seen 3-year-old fillies run well in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. You know, we're focused so much right now this spring on the Kentucky Oaks, but the 3-year-old filly championship picture probably going to still be very much up for grabs after the Oaks.
Oh, there's no doubt, because right now, again, we are looking for that filly, that standout, the one that's going to go into the Kentucky Oaks with all the fanfare as the big favorite. It's just not there yet, and that's not knocking any of the fillies on our list. Wet Paint is a very, very consistent filly, has done nothing wrong. She's just not fast yet, and she doesn't really get the blood rushing. But at the end of the day, I think we're just going to go past the Kentucky Oaks. I think we're going to go through Saratoga and keep an eye on these shorter distance races like the Test at 7/8 of a mile at Saratoga. I think this is a crop that's bursting with potential. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, and we'll have to see over the next 2 months here, the next 8 weeks leading up to the Oaks, who begins to step forward as their connections start to make plans for this final round of prep races. Looking ahead, we don't have any points races on the schedule until March 25th, but at that point, we start moving into some of these higher point preps, offering 100 points to the winners and added point values down through the top 5 finishers. And still plenty of fillies we've barely talked about in this wide open class, including that recent stakes winner we mentioned, Shittabuti, who won the Busher. We'll bring you more on her and all the latest news in this division next week on the Oaks Countdown.